boy, oh boy, are we live, apparently. Um,
Apparently.
oh my God, you guys, are the elite back? Are the dog kickers back? Are the fight instigators and or defenders back? Yes, more kind of, basically, without so much as saying so, they are officially back. But anyway, hi, hey, hello, welcome to a Market Down production. My name is Daniel. I am joined by Jamez, as he is usually known by. We're all fine here. No one's hurt here. No one's in pain. No one's thinking about going to the hospital. We're all powering through. Chad and Rev are at the hospital, but that's, you know,
Local medical facility.
very
Local
true. Well,
medical
not Chad
facility.
is not at a local medical facility. He is far across state lines. And I shouldn't even talk about Chad because there's a lot of legal ramifications behind that. There's an investigation going on in the Market Down universe. And we're not really supposed to talk about it, but I'm not really a rule follower, as it were. But anyway, yeah. So the elite, they're pretty much back without them actually showing up on the show. There was a video package for them of all of their biggest moments in AEW, and in every shot they would just fade. They would Thanos away, and I guess they're going to use what happened as character motivation at the very least, and potentially a story. So, I guess obviously, justice for Punk, one way or the other. Oh, why? You don't want him to face consequences? Okay. You just want the guy.
No, I do. That's not what justice for Punk. Damn it. That's not what justice for Punk means. Guys, I'm doing everything I can to survive this podcast. If I die, know you got every ounce of air out of my lungs.
Oh man. If you do, am I invited to your funeral? If you do,
absolutely, pallbearer.
He is dead, but okay. Yeah, so the elite they're back without them actually showing up. It's all but confirmed by the company because you wouldn't play a video package for them otherwise. It's no White Rabbit, but it's of the same ilk of not being acknowledged really by the commentators and not saying they're back, but still saying that they're back. So you're probably, I guess, excited about it. It's hard to tell because you're dying. But
if there were air in my lungs, I would be screaming right now. I'm very hyped. I'm very excited. I'm intrigued because I don't know how they're going to paint this story and how they're going to paint this picture, whether the elite are going to be sympathetic baby faces or if they're going to be resentful heels, or maybe they'll be resentful baby faces. I don't know.
Maybe if they're smart, they'll have a plan for it to go either way and try to feel it out,
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to return to a lot of fanfare. I think there are a lot of fans who are missing the elite, or at the very least are missing Kenny. And I see them coming back to a big pop. And I don't know, maybe that won't last long. Maybe it will be just like, oh, they're back, pop. But I think they're going to come back to love. So we'll see.
Yep. I mean, what has it been, like 8 weeks since the incident?
It feels so much longer just because of how much negativity was attached to this whole thing. And we had to deal with it every day. But I think 8 weeks is roughly about right.
Well, I don't know if 8 weeks is enough time to mature and learn from your mistakes, but maybe they did. Punk has like 6 months to mature and learn from his mistakes.
It didn't happen over the 7 or 8 years he was gone the first time, so I don't see it happening now.
Look, man, if your dog's teeth got knocked loose, you'd be throwing punches.
How this is the first time we've heard that detail is just miraculous to me. I don't know how we've gone this long without that little tidbit. But oh man, I hope it's not true. No dog should ever be hurt because of their owner.
Yeah, because Punk kicked down the door. Sheesh.
I
But
not only did Punk kick down the door, he saw that they were coming at him, so he threw the dog at them as a defense mechanism, and he missed because he's got a bad arm. He's from Chicago, and then the dog just landed face first into the wall. That's my story.
I mean, Chicago's won a World Series more recently than either of the New York teams, but that's another another depressing podcast. We don't get to talk about right now. But do you think, in all seriousness, all the jokes aside, or for now, but do you think this was the best way to do it? Is this how you would have done it?
I mean, as tempting as it is to have the Elite surprise return for that huge moment, when they do come back, the ratings are going to be huge. AEW has a good track record of teasing people coming back without out and out saying, this is the week that so-and-so is debuting, or this is the week so-and-so is coming back. But they plant the seeds very well. And I think setting up for their return will lead to a big moment regardless. I don't know if this is the way I would have done it, but again, it's causing a lot of intrigue as to how they're going to be handled when they do come back.
True, very true. And the fact that they are coming back means that we are at least at a turning point in this whole situation where
absolutely
some results, some findings had to finally, come to light in this investigation. And since they're not going to jail or anything, I'm guessing that they're just going to get a slap on the wrist. And that's about it, which, again, we don't actually know what happens. And ultimately, I think it's just adults fighting at the end of the day. So just
I agree.
Discipline them and move on. Like, it's not as dramatic as we're all making it seem. But it is fun to make it dramatic. But it's exciting stuff, but they didn't give us a lot to go on other than the fact that we know that they're coming back in some way, shape, or form. And I thought the only reason this main event happened was because they were going to come back because, it was Penta versus Moxley, and he's 1/3 of the Trios champions for some reason. And, you could have tied in multiple stories with this. You could have had Pac trying to interfere and, cheat on Penta's behalf, and then Phoenix stop him. And then, that somehow time to finish the match, and then have the Elite come out because maybe Pac jumps Mox off of the match and all that stuff. The BCC is still tied up and can't help, and then the Elite come out or something. There was stuff you could have done to tie them into it. But we'll get to the main event later. I guess we'll go in chronological order because since the Elite didn't actually factor into the show, they were just a video package. I just thought maybe that was the whole reason Penta was even getting this title shot. But, that's whatever. That's me connecting the obvious and AEW not for some reason. But, that's fine because I think what they did had to do more with the story of the main event, which is fine. And like I said, we'll get to it. But any other comments on this before we go to the top of the show?
Just very excited for them to come back.
Yep. As much as I'm joking around about it, I am too. I miss the Young Bucks, and I miss Kenny too. But it's like he was already gone for a long time, so this doesn't feel much different.
Yeah.
But the Bucks were part of a lot of stuff going on. What was it? A Double or Nothing? It was them versus the Hardys.
Well, did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it had to be Double or Nothing, right? Because it wouldn't be Forbidden Door, right?
Yeah.
Only Matt Hardy from that match is still there right now until this week. But anyway, we'll go to the top of the show, and it was Wheeler Castagnoli versus Chris Garcia in a tag match. And
Ew.
I know Chris Garcia, she should have a harder when you name people, right? But Claudio's music is great. I just want to point that out because we never get to hear it that often. I really like it. But anyway, the match was a lot of fun. The Appreciation Society was running all sorts of shenanigans. A very common wrestling trope, but also a very common AEW trope. But that's fine. To get work over Claudio, and they keep working over Claude, and then finally Claude gets the very mild tag to Wheeler, who doesn't do much, and then tags back in to Claudio, who gets worked over again, but then fucking destroys and runs wild this whole match. He hits the swing while doing an airplane spin with Garcia on his shoulders. Beautiful stuff. You love it. And then I think, I could be wrong in this, but I think for the first time in AEW, or at least maybe only the second time, he did his signature running wild, taking out everybody in the match and on the outside. And I missed that so much. And this is the best he's looked since the first 2 weeks of him being in the company. And I think this was a return to form for the Blackpool Combat Club on a whole tonight. But
I agree.
For Claudio, in this match especially, he brought it. And it was so refreshing. And he just dominated and won the match. He just had so much momentum that he took over and dominated the match and won cleanly. He pinned Christopher Jericho, the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, the Ocho. A rare pinfall over Chris Jericho. So that's great stuff. Now I'm going to pretend that all the nothing that's happened between him beating Claudio and now didn't happen and say that this was a real hot follow-up. And I love how great Claudio looked. And to just real quick jump to the next segment, because they tie into each other, just to get your opinions on both things, because I think you'll agree on this. Like, Brian's being interviewed by Renee Paquette, who was all over the show tonight. It's, you're paying your money, get your money's worth out of it.
Poor Marvez. Poor Alex Marvez, right? Just gone.
I already forgot about him, so it's fine. But she asked about all his frustrations lately. He says, "Yeah, I am pissed. I am pissed that I couldn't beat Jericho. I'm pissed that Garcia betrayed me and turned his back on me." Where it's like, bro, he was your friend for like a week, bro. But okay, he's like, I'm pissed that Yuta talked back to me, the fucking little punk that he is, And then he's getting fiery and passionate. He's like, I don't even dislike Sammy besides his stupid vlog and his smug face, which
I think we're all on the same page there.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's more reasons to dislike him, but I still like him too. But he's got this promo, and Wheeler walks in, and instead of like any other wrestling promo ever, Brian just keeps saying what he's saying. He doesn't stop. He acknowledges Yuta's entering the room. He looks at him, but he never stops a sentence, starts a new one. He never says, "Oh yeah, you're." No, there was no interruption in the flow of his promo. He kept going. If anything, he got more fiery because Yuta walked in, and that was really how he acknowledged him. And it was beautiful. And then Claudio broke it up, and he was like, "Hey, it's Wheeler's birthday, so we'll give him some birthday punches later and work this out." And it's cool. Like, it's really nice when a group of friends, even when they're at odds, don't forget somebody's birthday. It's fantastic. Anyway, so what did you think about the match and the segment following it?
For everyone watching at home, happy belated birthday to our very own Danny. He is 30.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Okay. It's never polite. My bad. That's on me. I love the match. It gave me like flashbacks to Cesaro, where Cesaro would have these amazing hot tag moments, whether he was in the bar or in like whatever the fuck he was in with Swagger and Tyson Kidd. What was his tag team with Tyson Kidd? I forget what that was called.
I don't think they had it. The brass rings or something like that.
Gotcha.
Something based on the stupid brass ring shit.
Like how often he would hit those spots and then still lose at the end. And here he got to do all that and win. And oh God, it's why Claudio, it's like, I know we talk sometimes like, oh, do you prefer guys in AEW? Do you prefer them in WWE? And there are certain guys that I think, it's just the same thing, or, they're maybe doing something a little bit different, but it's whatever. Like Claudio is better than Cesaro. Moxley is better than Ambrose. And it was such a fun moment. It was such a fun match. And it felt so vindicating for a guy like Claudio, who gets to show how good he is and then still get to go home with the W. It's not even like some of this stuff isn't even stuff that we're seeing for the first time. Like the giant swing with the airplane spin happening on top. He did that a couple weeks ago. It doesn't make it any less impressive that I'm watching it now. Like, the guy is just killing it all the time. And Wheeler Yuta is there doing his best, and I appreciate him. And I agree. I was shocked that he pinned Jericho. I thought maybe he would have pinned Garcia, but he pinned Jericho. And next week, maybe we could jump ahead a little bit, but like Jericho later in the show had a segment backstage with the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he issued an open challenge against former Ring of Honor champions. Maybe it'll be Claudio that answers the challenge because he beat Jericho this week.
Well, so I hope not, because he offered it up to any champion, not just world champions.
Oh, okay.
It would be
fair
cool.
Enough.
The first one, I think, has to be like a different champion,
Yeah.
Maybe Deanna Purrazzo comes out and does it, but I do think now this week did make me think that more or less what you're saying, though, that this ultimately will lead back to Claudio and Jericho as opposed to what we thought, which was Brian, being the final person to stop him. And that's fine too, knowing that now. We still have our feelings about Brian, but we'll talk about Brian a little bit later. So that's fine. Fun start to the show and the match. Otherwise, honestly, if this went any other way, I wouldn't have given a fuck about it. And because I'm sick of seeing these two factions interact. So this was a great job in making me care about something I'm a little bit burnt out about. CM Punk returns to face Jericho confirmed. Yeah, they can do that. They can do it. They're having.
It's possible. It's not anytime soon, but it's possible.
I could see Jericho politicking his way to get a win over Punk after everything Punk did. But I'd hate to see it. They're both not in the best ring shape, but it would be fun. The promos would be amazing. But yeah.
I am so proud of you for doing your best to put as positive a spin on that possibility as you could. That was great. We haven't gotten to the MJF stuff yet. Stay tuned. Stick with us. But we are going to talk about it, and we're going to spend a good amount of time talking about it.
Yeah, we started with the Elite video package, so that was, I think, the biggest talking point coming out of this because, suspended stars finally getting acknowledged on TV seems like a pretty big deal. But next we had a tag team #1 contenders match. It was Fuck the Revival versus Swerve and Keith Lee's Glory. And this match was fucking great. I don't have a nice way to put it. That is the nice way to put it, but I don't have an eloquent way to put it. So the Dax superplexed Keith Lee.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep. That happened.
What the fuck? And then 5 minutes later, they hit the big rig on Keith Lee. What the fuck? Oh my God, that was amazing. And then look at that. Another match in AEW, another bunch of outside interference. The Ass Boys, as they're known, or the Water Gun Club, as I guess other people would know them, were on the outside, and they interfered at the end. They held back cash. They're holding down cash money on the outside while the ref was distracted. And then Swerve, while Keith Lee was down and the ref wasn't looking, blowed Dax because he's a heel and a babyface and heel tag team. And then Keith hit his awesome finisher. He has two awesome finishers, and he hit the more awesome of the two finishers, in my opinion. and got the win. And swear this works out almost as perfectly as I think you can go, because you have the Swerve and Our Glory, the continue split between them, the inevitable split coming where Swerve is going more heel and Keith is staying babyface. You have them cheat to win, and you have the outside interference to protect FTR, who are, kept out of the title picture for at least a reason this time, and not because they're just not going for the title.
Mm-hmm.
They at least lost the number one contenders match and have a few. Granted, that feuds with the Ass Boys, who are just leagues beneath them. If FTR are NXT, the Ass Boys are FCW. They're just not up to snuff. But
I have a controversial opinion. I want FTR to drop their belts. I've discussed this already on the pod. I want them to drop their belts because I feel them being all champions of all these companies is limiting what they're allowed to do in AEW with them, because these companies don't want FTR to really lose. I want them to lose all their belts. And while I don't ever need the Ass Boys to win anything, again, it feels like Ring of Honor is going to be sort of treated like a developmental. At least, if not developmental, it's going to be a place for the younger guys to stretch their wings a little bit, stretch their legs. And I would not mind them being Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. I don't want them beating FTR unless there is like massive interference from the firm. But hey, maybe that's how we get FTR and MJF back together in the Pinnacle.
Yeah, I feel like a Pinnacle reunion is not off the table whatsoever. So
we got 4 of the members already together again, and Samoa Joe. Somehow.
Yeah, hey, it'd be nice to see Samoa Joe and MJF have a little moment together.
I want MJF to shoulder him into a wall.
That'd be funny, honestly. But yeah, fun match, great stuff. I like doing this because it addresses the issue everyone's been having with FTR being left out of the title picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that was I don't want to say a rare miss for Tony Khan, because he's had a lot of misses in the last 6 months, but that was one of the bigger ones. The fact that the Bucks FTR 3 was never the plan is asinine, and look what happens. You missed the chance. We're at a point where who knows when we're ever going to see the Bucks again, which now today we do know we will see them again. But in the Iron, even though FTR is still super over, look what happened. Another team got more over, and then they got the titles. So now it doesn't make sense to put the titles on FTR at this current moment, because you already have too hot of a tag team with FTR. With the Acclaimed. So good stuff. I'm excited. For Rents, I'm excited for the rematch. I'm kind of sick of AEW forcing these 3-match series and pretending that they're doing any differently than WWE. But this is one of the rare times where I don't mind it, because each time we've gotten development from Swerve's character. So I'm totally fine with it. But
are you worried about the Acclaimed losing?
No.
Yeah. No, me neither.
Really dumb if they did. And at this point, they already won it. It's I'm not gonna cry when they lose it, but I think they're just too over. I think they're the only ones. It's they're a top merch seller. I'm not too worried about it. I think they're gonna be fine. But quick backstage segments. Saraya argues with Britt. I actually wanted more of the Renee Saraya interaction.
I agree.
Before it got cut short, but it is AEW and they are women, so what are you gonna do? Give them time? No, can't have that. They got a match later, and that's it. The Renee has no time to rest. She's immediately out on the stage to interview MJF, who gets a great pop, who gets cuts a great promo, has great interactions with Renee. He imitates Moxley, did a very good job. He said, he did in a Moxley voice. He's like, "I'm gonna drink your blood and I'm gonna gargle your piss," and it was just so good. He takes some jabs at Regal, addresses some of the stuff Regal said from last week, and my favorite part of it, he's like, and look, I gotta be honest with you guys, like when I said I was gonna wrestle clean last week, I meant relatively clean. Like, come on, like I'm still a heel, I'm still
MJF.
I'm still gonna cheat, but within reason. It was very funny. And he said, "I promise you, I'm not gonna use the ring." So I think that'll be a crucial point. Like this could very easily be him setting it up to be like, "Oh, I was always gonna use the ring. Come on, I was just making him put his guard down," or him actually not using the ring.
Yep. Captivating either way.
Yeah, there's so many spinning plates here that it's genuinely hard to tell. And one of the things I love about face heel MJF is that he's still insulting the crowd. He's like, "Oh, I love you guys, despite all your flaws, despite your shortcomings, I still love you guys." But so good. I love this. I immediately loved his chemistry with Renee. Because he said, "With all due respect," then insulting Moxley. Renee's like, "You can't say with all due respect and then insult the person. That's not how it works." She's like, "With all due respect, shut up." Fantastic stuff. Renee, AEW interviewers actually very good at answering back to heels and calling them on stuff. And Renee has, jumped right into that, even though earlier, like with the Saraya promo, she didn't get to really do much, even though she did stop the squabbling between them.
I was kind of proud of her. I was proud of her for being like, "This isn't how we're doing this." And then they were like, "Okay, yeah, you're Renee. We believe you. We're not going to do it."
She saw Claudio do it earlier with Brian Yuta. She's like, "Oh, I just got to do that," because she's a quick learner. She learned on the same night that she saw it done. So great stuff. I assume you loved this promo too. I was interrupted by Stogie and Hathaway, who was just, I can't take him seriously, and so he's so out of place in the story between fucking stars and main eventers. But he comes out, talks, and MJF's like, "Yeah, no, like you don't call the shots around here." So, but we'll go back a long time, so I'll cut you some slack. But don't touch Moxley. I'm doing this clean. Or don't touch him, or you're fired. And Stokely just does his best tough guy. "Okay, I'd see you" smile and / angry face and walk. Oh God, I can't take this guy seriously. But that aside, how great was this promo?
This was amazing. I hate how much I love him because he's from Long Island, but he's just so goddamn good. I was watching the show with my girlfriend, and she's been to a couple of AEW shows, and she's programmed at this point now to know MJF bad guy, I boo. But even as she's watching it, she's like, "Damn, he's so good on the mic," and it's a testament to his ability. He's doing the catchphrases. He's without it feeling forced. It does feel forced, but it's because he wants it to feel forced, which feels great. I'm digging him so much right now. I'll be honest, I'm not ready for him to be a babyface yet because I think we have so much more we could do with him as a heel. But I almost feel like unless they really just want to try to get nuclear heat on him, I think their hands are tied here. Like they have to turn him face. And I know stuff happened tonight too that we'll get into it. But this promo was so good. It set up so much between him and Stokely. And how great was Renee dealing with having to deal with this piece of shit, just running down her husband, and she just did her best to keep it together. And it was a great segment.
One of the few, because ultimately the interviewer role is a relatively thankless job, and it's a little monotone and robotic, especially when it's formulaic. Like WWE's has always been for the past 15 years, and AEW's is to a degree where it's you're not. What's the point of you even being there? You ask a question, they take the mic, and they don't even actually answer it. They just cut a promo, Yeah. So sometimes the role's a little understated, but like I said, they do have some quips sometimes and answer back and point out when heels are lying. but like, Marvez is great, but like everything about Marvez that's good is in his voice and what he
Yeah,
says. Whereas Renee is not only in her voice and what she says, but she has the body language and the facial expressions that match
absolutely.
really, really well with people. So she has been just nailing what minimal of a role she has played. I'm not going to overstate or like overhype uh, her at all because I still think she hasn't done anything too crazy yet. But she is just doing a solid job with the little bit she gets, a little bit per segment because she gets a lot of
Yes,
segments. But
absolutely.
great, great stuff from MJF. He balances it so well between like, hey, I know you guys want to cheer me, so I'll play into it, but I'm still an asshole. Even though I'm thinking about not being an asshole, he's very transparent about how he's thinking about not being an asshole. And,
Yep.
I can appreciate that. But then, oh boy, I'm starting to realize I think I genuinely enjoyed the show a lot, which has felt like missing from AEW for me for a couple weeks. But next we had maybe my favorite thing on the show. It's so tough. There's actually a lot of contenders for my favorite thing on the show. Holy shit. But we had Brian of the Danielson variety versus Sammy of the Guevara variety. And I loved this match.
Me
And I
too.
said it earlier, I alluded to it earlier with Claudio, but this was the first time in a while that Brian has felt like what he was when he first came into AEW. Because this is what this match felt like that for those first like 10 to 12 matches of his when he came in. He was just putting on fucking great matches with everyone, and you didn't know how he was going to finish the match.
Yep.
And he was just dominant. He dominated this match. Like he didn't bury Sammy. He made Sammy look really good. But
I
Brian took way more offense than he usually would. Lately, anyway.
I gotta tell you, I was mad at the match in the beginning, because
Sammy jumped out to the early, like
yeah, and
yeah,
it wasn't even that he cheated to do it. It just he got the better of Brian. They ran at each other, and then he hits the flying knee on Brian, and I was like, okay, here we go. And then Sammy has the upper hand for I'd say like the first 3 to 4 minutes of the match,
three at
and
most, honestly.
and then I like those 3 minutes. I'm like, God, can't Brian just look strong again? And then he does. He absolutely does. I'll give him that. And then I got mad again when they had that excellent bit in the match where Sammy does the moonsault off the top rope, and then Brian dodges it, and then Sammy does the second like the standing
the
moonsault.
Andrade one, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice,
and then
nice
Brian
slap in the face.
Yeah. Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and I realize that's why you're still one of the few people who like Sammy, because he might have gotten rid of Andrade. Well, he tried to, but he misses that, and then he goes for the running shooting star, and then Brian catches him with the knees into the label lock. And I'm like, man, how great a spot to end the match. Sammy was doing everything right. It's just Brian caught him. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then he gets to the ropes. I'm like, he's going to fucking lose, isn't he? Brian's going to lose again. And then he gets him with the triangle choke and just hitting him while in the triangle choke. And then ref stops it. And I was like, there it is. There it is. I got frustrated, but you needed to stick with it, and I got rewarded for sticking with it because it was a great match. But similarly to how you felt about the tag match earlier, that if Sammy somehow did win, I would have been just frustrated with the match.
Oh, absolutely. I would have been. See, if the Jericho Appreciation Society won the tag match, I just wouldn't have cared about the match. I'm like, all right, that was a waste of my time. But if Brian lost this match, I'd been like, I've said the past couple weeks, I'm kind of done with Brian and AEW because I think they're fucking botching him. This is the first time I felt like, oh my God, they still know what they're doing with him. And
Absolutely.
it just felt like so good. And the spot where Sammy just starts hitting forearms and Brian just starts no-selling them and then leaning into them. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. If they'd done that, and this crowd was great, so I don't mean to like take jabs at this crowd, but like
Mhm.
if they'd done that in a better crowd, that would have gotten a huge pop. Because I think that was one of the only times in the match where the crowd was popping, but they were like not sure what was going on. But I feel like a smarter crowd would have just like eaten that up even more. Not that this
Mhm.
crowd, wasn't good because they were really good, but
I agree.
the
I
match was
also
fantastic.
I got to give commentary some credit here, and I don't know if this is a directive from Tony Khan or if it was just something they decided to touch on in commentary. I love that they acknowledged that Brian has lost 2 matches in a row, and he's never lost more than 2 matches in a row in AEW. So,
Which isn't
it,
that impressive of a stat to be throwing out
it,
there, but
oh, it's absolutely not. But it made me aware of the fact that
they're
they are
aware.
yeah, either this was always the intention that they're telling a story with Brian and they won't, like, it's just his losing streak until he's dominant, that he can't win the big one, or they are aware of the fact that we're upset and that they are trying to either course correct or at the very least acknowledge it.
I think it's the latter. I think they saw our podcast the past couple of weeks and were like, we got to fix that. But this was so good, and this is why, like, ultimately, Sammy is worth the headaches because, like,
Mm-hmm.
he, like, I know, like, I don't have all the facts. So, like, I could be speaking out of pocket here, but like, the worst he's done is be, a bad fiance, and definitely cheat on his fiance. That's not been said or like reported, but I just believe that that's definitely what
Yeah,
happened. And like that's bad, and I think he's a shitty person for that, but not like a monster that needs to be fired or like shouldn't
yeah,
be there. And then all he did was stand up for the company to Andrade, who does clearly think he's better than everyone and just wants to go back to WWE and isn't even hiding it. It's like I don't think he was wrong in that situation at all. Like I made fun of him because I'm like I wouldn't be you know, I wouldn't think he would start a fight because he's doesn't seem like an actual tough guy, like. But that's just because he reminds me of a lot of people in New York. Where I'm just like, oh, you're not so tough. But like if I was walking down the streets of Manhattan and he was walking the opposite direction, and we're both in each other's path, and he didn't do like the awkward shoulder thing where you politely move your shoulder at the last second so you don't bump shoulders. He didn't. I wasn't gonna move if he wasn't gonna move. We would have bumped shoulders because I'd be like, I'm not afraid of this fuck boy, But whether he'd kick my ass or not, that's irrelevant. It's just that I wouldn't be afraid of him. Like,
absolutely,
but so that's why I just believe like, he's just a stupid kid. Whereas
Mhm.
like Andrade is just a grown ass man who thinks he's better than he is. And because Sammy's a stupid kid, of course he would cheat on his family. That's why he shouldn't have been given the platform to propose on TV because he was a stupid kid and he was always going to mess that up. Still, I'm not defending him for messing it up, but I'm saying
No,
like
it was
of course he
inevitable
was gonna,
almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, Sammy is like forgivable. It's just like you're a piece of shit, but like you can mature still. It's not too late for you. You're not punk, you're not a big
Another
old man.
another instance where Tony Khan could have avoided so much trouble if he just made better decisions.
Yeah, like not signing Andrade,
Okay, not where I was going. I was thinking maybe not letting him propose live on TV, but yeah.
But also because I don't know when I'm gonna have a chance to say this, because who knows when he's coming back, but like, you brought in and enabled Jeff Hardy. I think what Punk and the Elite did is a lot less severe than that. But all at the end of the day, a bunch of grown men fighting is less likely to kill someone than Jeff Hardy driving a car. But anyway, moving on, we had Rio. How's your voice?
I can't speak, not because of my throat or my lungs, but because you just deflated me emotionally there with Jeff Hardy. So we're just going to get past it.
I was trying to cheer you up this podcast.
Mostly great. Yeah. It's not you, it's Jeff. Make better decisions, Jeffrey.
Understandable, but next we had our obligatory. We got to have one of these every week, otherwise the crowd's gonna get mad. Women's match, and it was Riho versus Jamie Hayter. I'm sorry. I think I killed James. It was Riho versus Jamie Hayter. Hayter had a hater section, which is fantastic to read. It's fantastic to say. It's grammatically funny. And what in any other context, it's a bad thing. But here it's a good thing.
Yep.
Versus Riho. I like Riho, but I don't get Riho the way everyone else loves Riho. And then like 2 seconds into this match, she botches taking a shoulder block. So
did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yes.
She is your little Sebastian.
Yeah, actually, yes. That's very good. But who wasn't that didn't get the hyper and little? Okay.
Ben played by Adam Scott.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah. No, he is. She is my little Sebastian. That's actually really apt. Good shit. But I don't know, especially because I associate her with like the worst time of AEW's women's division, where like they were getting nothing in the beginning.
I feel like when they first started, there was like this hope for the division. You know, no one was saying no one reasonably was saying that they were the best division. It was just compared to WWE's women's division at that point. People were just so done with how WWE was treating women that people were like, yes, look at all these new women that are actually able to wrestle and are doing their thing. Not that WWE didn't have women that could wrestle at that point. It was just they were booked terribly.
What are you talking about? That was like 2019 when they main evented WrestleMania and were.
I mean, a lot of people were not thrilled with the Ronda Rousey of it all.
Yeah, but she got them a lot of TV time.
No, she actually
pay-per-view, and I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't think there was that much resentment towards the WWE's booking of the women at that particular time. I think if anything, their booking of the women's division always dampened AEW. So it's like, there's no way you're going to live up to that because
which I agree with. I do agree with, but I remember there being hope, and that tournament that crowned the inaugural champion was nice. You know, it made it feel like, yes, we're treating this like it's an important thing. But then I think things sort of fell apart in the Nyla Shida bit. And a lot of that had to do with
I think
the
it fell
pandemic.
Apart with the Nyla Riho and then into the Nyla Shida.
Okay.
And the Shida did her best to course correct and did an okay job, but was never given a chance to do a better job.
Yeah.
Because I will say I don't love Shida as much as everyone else does, but like, I don't think Shida had a fair shake. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I very much agree.
But, you know, this match, other than that, like the match got good and the crowd, as much as they were into Hater, weren't as into this match as they were into like every other match on the show, because as much as the fans complain about the women's division, the fans also treat the women's division the worst. So it's a double-edged sword where you complain about something not being better, but then you don't give it the time of day. You don't give it the time of day you want the company to give it, but then the company's not giving it the time of day, so of course you wouldn't give it the time of day. So it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that never ends. The blame is still mostly on the company, but then the crowd's acting like this too when they get a good match that, you know, despite that botch in the beginning, turned into a good match, and the crowd did get into it at the end, to be fair to them. But Hater gets the win, and I think this was completely the right move. No, honestly, if Riho won, I would be campaigning against Riho, honestly, as opposed to just saying I don't get it. But the fact that, and this is okay, it's okay sometimes to bring someone back and then have them lose. And this is a prime example of that. There was another recent one that I thought was good. I just can't remember who it was. And then there's like the Bailey one where it's like, it's good that she put over Bianca. It's just the way they did it in the ladder match wasn't good because it ruined the whole faction. But like the idea of her beat Bailey losing to Bianca is perfect, is good on paper. It was the right move. It's just the execution was terrible. But this was the right move, and the execution was just fine. Hater wins. There was interference, but like there was a good amount of offense between the interference and the end of the match. So
yeah,
for my money, Hater won clean as a whistle. As cleaner than MJF is going to win in that main event.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
do you think he's going to win? I know
I'm worrying about it. We'll get to it, but I'm worried about it.
Okay.
But yeah, what did you think of this? Good stuff. I mean,
I,
besides the typical complaints about women's division, but you know.
yeah, I liked it. I am in complete agreement with you. Hater needed to win more than Rio did. Rio is just gonna be over. She just is, and because she is, the character that she is, the small, plucky underdog character, she can always come back from losses. So Hater winning was way more important. And I'm glad that the crowd is behind her. Again, I wish, like you said, that the crowd was more into the match in general, but it's okay. Let Hater win and I hope she picks up a couple more wins over the next couple of weeks while Britt is distracted by Saraya.
Yeah.
And it just sort of happens under Britt's nose. And then all of a sudden, maybe Jamie's earning a title shot that Britt hasn't earned, So that's thinking long term, but for right now, baby steps. It was a fun little match, and I am happy that the right woman won.
I like your idea, and I wish that was the direction, but it looks like she's just gonna get a match with Tony real soon because Tony came out after the match and held up her title. Cool haircut, Tony, but like. I don't like that because both women need to win. And I think you can have Hater be the one to beat Tony, and that's great. But Tony has to be the official champion first. She had
I
gotta
agree.
sort that out. I don't want to shit on Thunder Rosa because
we might have every right to.
Yeah, soon. We might. We'll sooner or later we're gonna get more details about that. They keep dripping, but there's a lot of heat on Thunder Rosa coming from a lot of camps in AEW, and I feel like it's been long enough now. Maybe it's not been. Maybe Brawl Out. It feels longer than it is, but I feel like it's been too long for it to still be an interim championship.
It's been since Forbidden Door.
Well, they had the match at Forbidden Door
to crown.
No, the Fatal 4-Way was at All Out. That was at.
Was it really?
Out. Yeah.
Who did Thunder?
That was at Forbidden Door. She beat Toni Storm.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, at some point in August, Thunder vacated the title. So we had, let's say, half of August, September, and now all of October. I guess that's fair. 2 months is reasonable. Is 3 months reasonable? I don't know. What was Punk out for? 8 weeks? 6 weeks?
That's a good question. I'll look that up.
Because I'm trying not to have a double standard about it, but I just wanted Thunder's title reign to be over.
And that's sort of the big difference there. Thunder's title reign felt like it was on the downspin regardless. Beyond the fact that we didn't like how it was booked to begin with, it felt like the reign was ending sooner than later. And this just got prolonged by her injury. Yeah. As opposed to Punk or Cody, where it was we're in the heat of it or in the beginning of it, and it just, unfortunately, injuries happened. Although I still think that the Cody one was stupid.
Oh, yeah. The Cody one's not forgivable, but, that's... We moved on because other things happened with Cody after that. But, I just wish... I feel bad for Tony and all this because I feel like it's not to derail her momentum too badly because she still gets pops and, they've actually done a good job with their interim title reign. It just won't get as much credit as Moxley's did, but they did the same thing. They had her wrestle. She's there every week. She's the only woman that's on TV every week now, because even Britt's not there every week, but that's, I think, part of her star quality at this point that she doesn't have to be there every week. But
I agree.
She's just been there every week. If she's not having a match, she's still there. She's still a presence. This was the only week where she barely did anything. She's always been doing more usually. So they've done a really good job with their interim reign, the same way they did with Moxley's. Very opposite of how they did with Sammy's interim reign. But I think she is getting kind of screwed in all this, and not that I don't want to condone working through injuries, but I don't know. I don't want to say she should have done it because then who knows what could happen and what could go wrong.
Have her do the match, get rolled up 1, 2, 3 real quick, and her come back as a heel, pissed off that she had to defend the title injured.
Yeah, or have a multi-woman match and have the heels take her out backstage before the match. Yep.
Do
sports entertainment shit. Like when people are injured, people are more forgiving of bullshit.
Yep, absolutely.
It's understandable, but that being said, I think we've talked about this longer than it went on TV for. But good stuff. Eddie has an interview backstage where he's like, "Yeah, everything's fine. No, nothing to worry about. I'm totally good. No, I'm not upset. I'm not gonna in an interview shoot on a bunch of people in the company. Who would do that? Which is where I think Eddie's going with this. I think he's gonna take a lot of jabs at Punk with whatever direction this is going in.
Yep.
But it's just nice that he's back on TV because yeah, that's the other thing, Sammy. I totally forgot about the Eddie Sammy stuff. I was talking about Sammy.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh man, how quickly shit happens. I don't know. That one's on Eddie though too, but I forgive Eddie because he's so fucking likable.
I got to give it to Eddie too that Eddie took responsibility for that.
Yeah.
Like multiple times he said, "I handled that poorly."
Yeah.
He said, "I had a grievance that I should have aired better." So credit to him there.
Yeah. All Sammy did was say something that's, yes, not great, but like in terms of wrestling, like, yeah, that's not that bad. He called him fat. Like, okay, cool. Did you see what Kevin Owens went through like his first 2 years in the main roster?
Yep. And Sammy wasn't even the first person to call Eddie fat on TV for AEW. Other people have done it. It's just I think Eddie's thing was he didn't have it cleared first, so he felt disrespected. But
yeah, when it's like a little fuckboy saying it, things are different. And again, in the streets of New York, what Eddie did was totally acceptable. And that would have been it the same way. That was it after that. And he owned up to it. That's what would have happened on the streets of New York. All right. I don't know how they do things in Yonkers, but I assume that's how it would have gone because I think I would have gone in the Bronx. But I'm just excited. I'm glad he's back on TV. So whatever happens next. Darby had a backstage vignette where he basically said Jay Lethal has a friend that knows his weakness. He's like, bring your friend next week. And we're going to have Jay Non-Lethal versus Darby Allin on Dynamite next week. And oh boy, is that a fucking battle for the belts match if I've ever seen one. And I haven't seen one. But I'm mildly excited for who this could be because Darby said it. If Jay Lethal was like, I have a friend, and his promo immediately after was like, yeah, I have a friend that's going to be there. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck who your friend is. But because Darby said it and his, I'm like, I'm at least mildly interested because.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the last time Jay Lethal had a friend that he brought in, it was the Motor City Machine Guns. And I went crazy for that. But I agree. This is way more intriguing. Yeah, because there's mystery to it and it's interesting. And I'm sure it'd be good. But,
hopefully Darby's another guy who I'm sick of seeing losing. So hopefully wins this match. And then I don't know what happens after that. I don't know who it could be. Could be fun. Maybe his friend is CM Punk, and that's
I am sick of this thing. I can't even say it's a trend of AEW's. It's just always been their thing. I'm sick of them having matches that feel like should be the end of the feud, be the start of the feud. And we've talked about it here on the podcast before. But Darby's already beaten Jay. He's already beaten Jay Lethal. They had an epic moment where Darby forced him to shake his hand afterwards. I don't need more. That. I don't even need what the hell is the point of this feud continuing? They decided not to turn Jay Lethal face, which fine. I guess either that wasn't the plan or they pivoted at the last second. But why is this continuing? He already beat him. So if Darby beats him again, why did we do this? And if Jay beats him, yay, 50-50 booking. It sucks either way.
Yep. And then Cody, KP in the chat with the Mankind. That'd be funny if it was Mankind or Cactus Jack. Wouldn't be funny if it was Dude Love, but if it was Mankind or Cactus Jack.
The funniest character would be the least funny in this situation.
Yeah. Because it's Darby. It's got to be Mankind, and then we'll accept Cactus Jack,
Always.
But good stuff. I forgot. I stopped taking notes after this, but it was just the main event after this, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Well, there was a backstage segment with Jay Lethal, but
yeah,
yes.
that's what I'm saying. But they tied into, but yeah, who cares? They didn't say anything of notes.
No.
They just had a tall guy in the background. They had their version of Omos in the background, but then we had the main event of man. If it wasn't for the angle afterwards, this should not have been the main event. Like the Bryan Sammy match should have been the main event. Because that was like the show long thread was. This still was. The Blackpool Combat Club was all over the show, and that's why I feel like this was a really good week for them to feel like on track for the first time, and everything made sense. And they addressed so many criticisms, like we had said earlier, and even we'll get to it at the end of the match. But even where was the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club line we've had for how many weeks now?
Yeah,
they addressed that at the end. They were all locked in a room, but it was Penta versus Moxley. Mox was like, "I'm so sick of your Zero Miyota shit. Like, you do it all the time," and he just flipped him off. It was great. The match was fun. I forgot did he get out of the label lock that Mox was going for by loosening his mask? It was some submission he got out of by doing it. It was very, very good spot. Very, very fun. I have many issues with this match happening. It doesn't make sense. You can't expect us to believe Mox is going to lose the title, and it borderline feels pointless. And I hate that AEW does this all the time. And we didn't talk about it in the MJF promo because it was so good. The only negative about it was even trying to pretend that Penta could possibly win the title. Like, why have these matches when you can't believe the other guy's going to win? If you want to have a match to have Moxley get some title defenses, don't do it on a big storyline night. Have it as a 3-week program that ties into the story. Have Penta interact with MJF. Have Penta be like, "I don't like you either, MJF." So there are ways to do that, and then it's fine to tell a B story in your A story for a couple of weeks because you have plenty of time till Full Gear. So like you don't have to. So like, I hate that this happened, but the match itself was good. But like it made I couldn't get into it because I was like, I don't believe there's no point in this match because I can't believe what's going to happen. The only thing I can be interested in is something going to happen after the match, and something did happen after the match because Mox won, and then out came the Firm in the main event of the show, the fucking Spirit Squad of AEW.
I can't even remember the last time we actually saw the Firm. It's been a couple of weeks.
I don't know. I forgot Ethan Page was in it because of it's been that long. And you know what? I think Ethan Page was better off with Dan Lambert, but
I agree. Well, we just found out Lambert is the reason Lambert's not on TV anymore.
And I respect him for that.
Yeah, no, I do too.
He was like, yeah, I think the character's run its course. There's not much more for me to do, but when there is, I'm here. Like, I'll be here if you ever need me again.
Yep.
But like, other than that, I feel like we did our job. We accomplished what we needed to accomplish. So I respect that. But yeah, why is the Firm, oh my God, out here in the main event? And like on paper, this angle works. They beat down Mox because MJF told him not to do it. And then MJF comes out, he's angry at them. He's like, "You're fired." And then they beat him up because now MJF's turning babyface. But it's like, it's a group of fucking nobodies. There's no one credible in this group. Like, as much as Ethan Page is fantastic, he is so he is what Ricky Starks, he is to Ricky Starks what Ricky Starks is to MJF. And it's like, so he is like the third copy of this awesome promo, like attitude with the chip on the shoulder guy. So it's like he's the third string of them, so he's not credible. Big Cass is just big, and he's gotten
better.
He has. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about him, but like I can't take him seriously. In the main event, he's better than the guy with Jay Lethal, but and he's better than no, I can't think of anyone else. I think he's on Lance Archer's level at best. So it's a bunch of jobbers with a fucking in the main event feud. But more importantly, because I'm so hyped about it, is in his very complex character development. MJF did the right thing and he told the guys to stop it. He was not in favor of this beatdown, and then he got beat up for it. So in the next few weeks, we have the interesting prospect of MJF teaming with
I know.
Moxley
I'm very
to
excited.
face the Job Squad. And God, I genuinely take the Spirit Squad more seriously than these guys. But maybe that's because I for sure knew their names at the time because they said them every week. But that's the exciting part of this. The fact that I'm supposed to, Stokely is, I think he thinks he's really good at with facial expressions, but he just looks like he's holding in a poop every time. And I can't take him seriously. I know I'm being like over the top about him, and I know he's better than I'm giving him credit for, but he's one where he's not even he's what the fuck's the name of the horse? The little from Parks and Rec?
Little Sebastian.
Yeah, he's not even my little Sebastian because I can't even imagine, like, it's not even the same because no one has that fondness for him. Like,
it's true.
He's not like that, but like the fact that he's in the main event of the show, like that makes it feel lesser. But the exciting part of this is like MJF's character work and the idea of him teaming with Moxley, and again, which brings him closer to Regal and being under Regal's umbrella. And what I said last week of his interactions with the Blackpool Combat Club and not necessarily joining them, but gaining some sort of respect for each other along the way. I'm very, very excited for it. What did you think about this? I guess if you want to talk about the match, but more importantly, the angle afterwards.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about the match is it should have been a title eliminator match. I didn't mind Moxley versus Penta happening because Penta is somebody who always sort of hovers over like the top of the mid card, the bottom of the main event scene. So if they wanted this to be a title eliminator, they could have done that. And you could have still had the match, still had Mox win, still look dominant, and not have to explain why Pentagon is having a title match. And the match itself was good. There was a lot of, like, I'm happy to see Penta bringing back like the arm snapping thing that he does, or at least going for it.
It has no effect in AEW. So I wish they protected it like in Lucha Underground.
I agree. I do agree. But the match was good. Better than fine. Not amazing. I've seen better matches between the two on the indies. But good enough match. And yeah, the segment afterwards was incredible. The truth is with the Firm, they bungled them from the first day. From like the Dynamite that followed their debut on pay-per-view, they just botched it. And it sucks because I do think there's a lot of potential with most of these members. Say what you will about the Ass Boys. They are a young team that is probably only getting better with time. It's just they don't have an NXT to develop. We're watching their development on live TV.
Absolutely.
Lee Moriarty, who I know a lot of people forget is even part of the group.
I just remembered personally.
Yep, I figured. He's another talent that a lot of people say a lot of good things about and they have a lot of hope for. But he's done nothing since the Firm came together. W. Morrissey, who built up so much credit with the fans in Impact that watched him in Impact. Again, they're not capitalizing on this 7-foot guy. Like, how do you not at least have him have matches on Rampage? So they just haven't. They feel ineffectual because they've done nothing. They've accomplished nothing since debuting. And that first night when they got introduced by MJF and he separated himself from them that first night. I don't know what their goals are. I don't know what they want. Like, I know that individually they all want to win championships, but why are you working together? What is Stokely Hathaway offering you that you need to be with him? And it's been very disappointing because I did have a lot of hype for this group. I had a lot of hope for this group, and it just hasn't really been rewarded. Now, admittedly, I liked how tonight played out, and I don't necessarily feel because of their station that it hurt the segment at all. It sucks to compare it to this other group because this other group spawned so many incredible wrestlers, but when the Nexus was first a thing in WWE, we didn't think. Go ahead. All right, I'll stop.
How many incredible wrestlers did the Nexus spawn? Are you talking about Ryback or
Bryan Danielson,
yeah,
Wade Barrett.
incredible? Okay.
Oh, I think he was a
I think
good
he was
overall
really
package.
good. I think it was really good. I would give him like I don't mean this ironically or like in a condescending way, but he's like a B plus. So that is really, really good.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Again, then who
The
else?
Ryback experiment could have worked, but they just fucked him up, and he turned out to be the worst weird person I think Twitter has ever seen. From wrestling, and I like PJ Black. I like Justin Gabriel. I think Justin Gabriel is very
I don't
good.
think he's incredible though. But
And I love Heath. I have nothing. I will never have a bad word to say against Heath Slater, the one man rock band Rebel. Baby.
I mean, he led a faction of future WWE champions. How much bad can you possibly say?
Exactly. So my point being with Nexus, I think I proved myself there with that. When Nexus first debuted,
okay, who's the David Otunga of the scoop? Is it Stokely? I think Stokely is the David Otunga of the scoop.
Probably. That sucks. I don't know who it sucks more for. I don't know if it sucks more for Otunga or for Stokely. But
I feel like Otunga, he grew on me at like in his others like 100 different jobs he had in the company.
Yeah, right. Seriously. The man just damn it.
Oh, I thought John Bladner was here. Hey, bro.
But anyway, when Nexus first showed up, they were a group that I didn't fear them because of any of the individuals, except for, I guess, Bryan Danielson. I feared them because as a unit, they were overpowering and they were just beating people down. So that's the vibe I'm getting from the firm. Like, maybe none of them are diamonds in the rough, even though I think Ethan Page is, and I think W. Morrissey is. But as a unit, they are intimidating. And I like Morrissey hitting that. Well, it was a choke slam to MJF, right? Through the table.
I believe so, yes.
Like, on his own, that's cool. But when you have like 5 other guys with you beating somebody up as it's happening, it's, it's a good way to get some support on MJF, who already has a mountain of support behind him. But if at best all they accomplish is that they help turn MJF babyface, the group has already done more than I thought they ever would have.
Fair point. Yeah, like I said, I just can't take them seriously. It doesn't make this bad. It just means guys I want to immediately be out of the main event scene, have to be in the main event scene for a little bit. And that's okay in a very, very small dose. And I guess from now until full gear, but it's like, we said earlier, or we alluded to earlier, if they cost MJF the title of full gear, that's really lame. That's like super lame. Like, that's like, what was the point of all of this lame? Like, that was maybe we should just bring back CM Punk kind of lame like this, because and on paper I understand it, but it's like, why do any of this at this point? Because then all you're going to do is delay the inevitable. Instead of striking while iron's hot, you're running the risk of it cooling down. And yeah, you could do a Pinnacle reunion and have them beat them, but it's like they're not a big enough threat to warrant that.
I agree.
So that'll be really disappointing. Like, I could believe that Claudio could beat them in a 5-on-1 handicap match. So like, how can I believe that MJF's gonna need the Pinnacle?
I mean, I also think we shouldn't ignore the possibility that this is all just a ruse from MJF. Like, he took a hell of a beating tonight, sure, but like, if the devil wants to make you believe something, he will pull whatever trick he has to. And then maybe they do help him win the title from Mox, and that's how we keep him from actually turning face. Because by all accounts, MJF does not want to turn face. He wants to stay heel.
I just think that there could be, and this is a situation where I don't envy Tony Khan or any of the people who have to make these decisions, because I think it's so complicated, because you can do that and on paper it works, but you could just be throwing a huge wet blanket on a fire.
It's
Like,
very possible.
you know, you could be ruining something good and natural and like organic and beautiful. Or you know, I get it. The him being face doesn't make a lot of sense, and you know, there's always the risk of someone that's really badass and likable and cool turning face and becoming lame. Because that happens. It happened to Seth Rollins, you know.
Multiple times. Multiple times.
But you know, I don't think I trust, even though AEW has lost a decent amount of my trust for like Bryan Danielson and stuff, but I still trust them with MJF because they are letting him just be a face by being a heel, but like smiling about it. You know, he's like, hey, you guys are still fat and out of shape and everything, and you know, but I'm smiling when I say it, so we're friends about it.
Honestly, I hate that. I apologize to whoever said it last time, but I am understanding the Eddie Guerrero comparisons a little bit better
now. Yeah, in that
respect. In that respect.
But, yeah, but because he's just so good at it, and it's one that's like, if he turns face and it doesn't work out, then that's on us, but because we're causing it. But I think we have to see it through.
I think so too.
What happens, because there's so much potential, and you know, there is the real life stuff. There's the contract and the free agency, and I get maybe you want to delay it because you want the title reign to be a little closer to 2024 because it is only 2022. But you know, I feel like we've, or at least I have, and I think everyone's agreed to some degree, AEW's had a not striking while the iron's hot problem, and this would be a good way to help remedy that issue that I think the company's had. So
I think with how AEW's AEW championship scene has been, that there have been so many
smooth sailing, no turmoil whatsoever. Yeah,
so many quick reigns. Like Hangman wasn't a quick reign, but it wasn't a long reign either.
Yeah, it was.
How long was it? I didn't think it was that long.
No, it was like one in November. It was like 6 months.
197 days.
6 months. Okay. Some change.
Punk was champion all in all 87 days.
Too soon. Bring him back. Put the title back on him.
Mox reign was 11 days, and now he's in his 35th day with this third reign, which is crazy to think about that it's already been a month. It would
get to 70 days by the time Full Gear rolls around.
So I let MJF win it now, hold it all of 2023.
Yeah, I'm for that.
And then
maybe the countdown's on come 2024.
Exactly.
There you go. You let him go. You let him go sign with WWE with the title. He throws it in the trash, and then you play the long game and wait for him to come back.
Yep.
And then him and Cody come back at the same time heroically.
New mega powers.
It'll be great. It'll be great. But yeah, that's there's just so much. That's the beauty of it, is that there's genuine intrigue and like uncertainty where it's like, I genuinely don't know what they're going to do, because I can't see MJF not winning the title, and that terrifies me. But that build, that does have, you know, it gives you that feeling in your gut, like it has that actual anticipation, which isn't always there for wrestling. So that's nice that it will be there, and it's a little exciting, a little scary, and we have no choice but to go along for the ride, especially us. We're contractually obligated. Like, both of us are in terrible condition. I have like so many pains and aches. I need to get fucking like a tooth pulled. So I was like,
crap, really?
I'm gonna talk through this podcast. Despite that, and James can barely fucking breathe out here, and we're powering through. And what's Chad's excuse? He just doesn't want to be here with us. No excuse. That's his reason. It's not even an excuse.
Mhm.
Rev, what's your excuse? You still in the chat? Why aren't you here? Yeah, not because you're in pain, because we don't accept that as a reason not to be here on the Market Down podcast. Unlike Ben DeRosa, we fucking work through our injuries and our pain. You know, he's probably out celebrating someone's birthday besides mine, I guess. But you know, that's stop dying, man. We almost made it through the whole
I know,
show.
we're almost there. We're almost there.
We're almost there. But yeah, fun show overall. One of my favorite Dynamites in a while. I didn't
agree.
realize it until we started talking about it. But what did you think of the show overall?
Good show, good wrestling, fun wrestling, which is the best part. You know, it was just fun wrestling. Guys I like won matches, so
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah,
Not much more to say there.
I agree. I think this was a show where the right person won every match, which is rare for AEW lately. So that is fantastic, honestly. Everything furthered something, which should make Erica a little happy. You know, everything furthered some story or character. Some people actually had motivations for once. And even the Moxley Penta match, which had no motivation or character behind it, led into something to further the story. So a win of an episode, good stuff. And, you know, again, the Elite are coming back, and that hasn't even happened yet. We're talking about the show so long, I almost forgot about that. But
I really hope they come back with Hangman and Cole coming back at the same time. Let's just get this story done with.
Yeah. Real quick, how would you rank the Shrek movies?
All right, so there's 4, right?
I believe so, yes.
2, 1, 3, 4.
I completely agree. That is the correct answer. Thank you so much. Comment down below if you got that answer right, and comment down below if you got that wrong. If you said 1, 2, 3, 4, that's close, but you're still wrong.
Yep.
It's 2. 1 didn't have Puss in Boots, so like how
Exactly.
could it be better? Yeah, that's all the time I think we have, unless you have anything else you want to talk about, your illness or any passion projects you have coming up, anything to plug.
No plugs. Wear your mask, guys. Wear your mask, get vaccinated, and spay and neuter your cats.
Oh my god, actually, seriously, like Bob Barker was 100% right about that. Like the cat population is out of control, and these cats need food and homes, and just get them, even get your outside cats fixed. The cats that aren't actually yours, but you leave, get them fixed. Hit up programs like Little Wanderers, NYC, and you know, whatever local cat rescue organization you have in your city, get them all fixed. It's better for them. It's better for the community, so you don't get overrun. And you know what? Having cats around is good. You know the last time I saw a mouse in my house was, I genuinely probably didn't even go through puberty yet. Like it's been so long since I've seen a mouse inside of my home, and I live in New York. So like, come on, New York has a rat problem, but you know who doesn't? My house, because it's surrounded by cats.
Exactly.
So get cats. Yeah, just be kind to animals in general, all animals, but like get cats fixed. You know, it's for the best. And when you have dogs, get them fixed too. Adopt, don't shop, people. Okay,
Absolutely.
Don't buy your special fucking multi-$1,000 mixes. Fucking adopt from a shelter. But yeah, be nice to animals. Don't drink and drive. You know, be careful around other people. You never know who's carrying COVID. And there are consequences to these sorts of things. But yeah, everyone just be safe. Have a good night. And look out for our diner series coming out in the very long
soon.
future. Yeah, have a good night, everyone. Except Chad and Rev. Why weren't you guys here? No excuse.
I'm cutting it.
Thank
Bye.
you for joining in.